Music, it's Steve. In this video, I wanted to go over what I'm doing with my practice sessions, how I'm going about doing it, and progress I've made. It was quite a while ago that I made one on how I go through about practicing. But the first thing that I do every practice is go through a series of warm-up exercises. I went through this in that earlier video. I still do the exact same exercises. I play through a series of scales. I alter the picking that I do as I play through those scales. I run through a series of triplets, both across the fretboard and across and up and back down the fretboard. I then do a series of chord exercises. Now, as I go through all of these, and what I've done since I started relearning the guitar was to try to pick up some tempo gradually. Don't rush it. One of the other things I have noticed I was doing quite a lot was laying my fingers down somewhat flat, and I'm trying to really focus on arching my fingers a lot. I was muting a lot of strings and getting a lot of buzzing, and that was because of me. I was just laying a finger that was pressed down in the right spot, but also my finger was contacting the string next to it. I try to focus on that. While I'm playing through those chord exercises, I like to change up the strumming patterns and also practice changing quickly from one strumming pattern to another and maybe back to the original, or three separate ones, different in a row. But that's the beginning of my practice session. I try to get in an hour each day when I'm practicing. Those warm-up exercises used to take me a good 20 to 30 minutes, and now I can usually fit it in about 15 minutes because of the increased tempo I do them with. The other thing I like to do as I'm going through all my exercises, I will practice with a metronome or a drum beat pattern and practice at a tempo. I really suggest also practicing from time to time without a metronome. Try to build up your internal metronome, so to speak. Really practice keeping an even tempo throughout a song with and without the metronome. If you're lucky enough to get to the point where you're playing songs for family and friends, get an understanding of listening to the songs you're trying to learn and see what tempo they're at. If you have to change it for you to comfortably play that song, by all means go ahead and do it. But you may want to really focus on, at least at some point, getting to the tempo that the song is recorded at. And if you want to practice an hour, but you can only squeeze in 30 minutes, something pops up and you got to stop. Don't beat yourself up if you can't get back and finish the practicing. Take what you can get. Have a goal, but if it changes, that's okay. Just get in what you can. The other thing I wanted to mention was I've seen some suggestions, other practice videos from good guitarists, good teachers, as far as what they suggest people do while they're practicing. And one of the things I've seen a couple of different people suggest is something like a 1-5 rule or a 1-3 rule. I think it's a 1-5, but what they suggest is when you're going through an exercise and you make a mistake, try to go back through the exercise and not make a mistake over the course of 5 times going through that same exercise, or it may be 3. But what I would suggest, I don't agree with that at all. I would suggest playing through the mistake, keep going. You don't have to go back and repeat it 5 times without making a mistake. I think that's just total overkill. We're all human, we're all going to make mistakes, and it gets really frustrating when I have tried this and I don't repeat the same mistake, but because I'm thinking about it so much, I end up screwing some other part of the exercise up. So, and let's face it, when you're going through and you're playing for yourself, for family and friends, and you make a mistake playing a song, I'm sure you would rather trying to cover it up as best as possible and keep going with the song instead of just stopping and calling attention to everyone that you just made a mistake and can I start over? So I think it's really important to learn how to deal with the mistakes that you make and get through them and keep going on with the exercise or the song. And I spend whatever time I have left, hopefully 45 minutes, sometimes much less, practicing songs. Some really difficult chord shapes in some of them. Sometimes I think maybe I've stretched myself too far as the number of songs I've printed up and have tried to dedicate myself to. I would suggest more sticking to, 1 or 2. The last thing I wanted to go over and admit is jump to the conclusion, oh, my guitar isn't set up correctly. And that very well may not be the case. It may just be a matter of changing out the strings. It may be a matter, again, of really concentrating on arching your fingers and not laying them down as you're playing and making contact, and I'm creating the buzzing. That's it. If you have any suggestions that you like to do when you're practicing and focusing on, leave them in the comments. And I really want to thank you for checking out the video, okay? And remember, whenever you're playing, have fun.